What happens when a country music star with a rough past sits down on daytime TV's most fiery couch and refuses to play nice? You're about to walk through a live segment that went so far off script, it ended with one of television's most familiar faces walking away from it all, not during a break, not on a planned farewell. Right there. On air, before we get into what set everything off, tap subscribe and tell me in the comments. Do you believe in second chances? Or do you think some people should never be given a platform? Your answer might change by the end of this. The lights were hot. The crowd was buzzing. Jelly Roll took his seat on the view, tattoos peeking out from under his rolled-up sleeves, trying to look relaxed even as the camera zoomed in. Whoopi Goldberg introduced him with that easy warmth viewers know so well. The panel smiled. The audience clapped. Everyone seemed on board, except Joy Behar. From the second she leaned in with her note cards, her energy was different. Not playful. Not curious. Sharp. Jelly Roll, she began, settling her eyes on him. You've become a huge star, singing about redemption and second chances. But with your criminal record, do you really think you're the right person to tell people how to live? The room froze. You could feel the air leave the studio. Jelly Roll took a slow breath. He didn't snap back. He didn't joke. He nodded and answered calmly, saying he wasn't preaching at anyone. He was sharing what he'd done wrong, so somebody watching might not have to repeat it. But Joy didn't soften. She pushed harder, accusing him of turning his mistakes into a business model, of cashing in on his past. And that, right there, because from that point on, this wasn't just an interview. It was a showdown. And the next thing Joy said pushed the tension to a level nobody on that stage was ready for. Asterisk, the applause had died. Nobody was smiling now. Joy didn't let his first answer sit. She waved a hand like she'd heard it 1,000 times. Come on, she pressed. You turned your story into sold-out tours and millions of dollars. Some people would call that exploitation. You made a brand out of your worst choices. That word hit hard. Jelly Roll's eyebrows lifted. He reminded her he had paid for those choices with years of his life. Years behind bars. Lost time with his family. He said the music didn't come from a marketing plan. It came from guilt, regret, and the need to be better than the man he used to be. But Joy still wasn't satisfied, right? She replied. And now you're on this show, on these stages, making more than most people will ever see. At what point does your redemption arc stop being real and start being a celebrity brand? Whoopi tried to step in. She started to reframe the conversation, to calm things down. Joy cut her off, wanted to hear how Jelly Roll would justify his success. The panel got quiet. Sunny shifted in her seat. Sarah stared down at her. Notes. Alyssa looked back and forth like she was watching a car drift toward the guardrail. Jelly Roll leaned in. His jaw was tight now. Justify what? He asked. That I turned my life around. That I'm trying to reach people who are where I was? I'm not sure what more you want. Joy fired back that she wanted honesty. She said his reformed bad boy image felt like an act. That he saw an angle, took it, and now everyone treated him like a hero. The air in the studio changed. This wasn't fun TV drama anymore. This was personal. And then Jelly Roll said one line that flipped the whole power dynamic on its head. Joy kept pushing. She questioned his motives. She questioned his sincerity. She questioned whether any of this I've changed talk was anything more than good publicity. Jelly Roll didn't raise his voice, but his tone shifted. He brought up his daughter, who knows her dad went to prison. He talked about his wife, who stayed when he had nothing. These weren't props, he said. They were real people who lived through the consequences of his choices with him. Joy rolled her eyes. Everyone in Hollywood has a sob story, she said. What makes yours special? I never said it was special, he answered. He only said it was real, that he was trying to use it for something good. Then he added a line that made the audience gasp. If you can't tell the difference between someone trying to make a real change and someone selling snake oil, he said, maybe you've been in this business too long. That hit Joy like a slap. Her face flushed. Excuse me, she shot back. Are you saying I don't know what I'm doing? He clarified. He said she was so busy looking for a gotcha moment that she was missing the point of why he was. Their Joy laughed bitterly at the word honest. She accused him of being the poster boy for second chances. While millions of people with records can't even land a basic job, where's their redemption arc? She asked. That was the first time his voice really rose. He explained that he uses his platform to push for criminal justice reform, to speak up for people who never get a camera, never get a microphone, never get a break. Then he turned it around. On her. What are you doing for them, he asked, besides judging me? For a split second, the studio went silent. Everyone knew a line had just been crossed. They just didn't know how many more would be crossed before this was over, because Joy wasn't backing down. She was about to make it even more personal. Joy's mouth fell open. She lifted her hand, stopping Sonny from stepping in. She told Jelly Roll he did not get to come on her show and tell her what she did or didn't do for social justice. She reminded him she'd been fighting these fights. Before you were born, Jelly Roll asked her a simple question in return. Then why attack someone who's on the same side? For a heartbeat, something wavered on her face, something almost vulnerable. Then it snapped back too hard. She said this was about accountability. About not giving people a free ride just because they knew how to package their story. About not letting people coast on a good narrative they hadn't earned. He asked the question that lives at the root of every debate about redemption. Who decides when someone has earned it? Because from his seat, it felt like no matter how much good he tried to do, there would always be someone ready to say he hadn't done enough, that he should still sit down, that he should still be quiet. That's when Joy stood up. Her chair scraped the floor. The sound cut through the silence. She demanded to know what he meant by someone like you. He clarified again. He meant someone who seemed more focused on tearing people down than noticing when someone was trying to build something positive. That there was a fine line between accountability and cruelty, and right now she was crossing it. Joy's hand started to shake. She said she'd spent decades holding guests accountable, and that she wasn't about to stop just because some country singer with a guitar and a tearjerker. Backstory thought he was untouchable. He replied that he never said he was untouchable. Only that there's a difference between asking hard questions and going for the jugular, he told her. Straight up, that she was crossing that line, and if you thought things had already gone too far. Joy's next move proved the real breaking. Point hadn't even hit yet. When Jelly Roll challenged her approach, Joy went for the deepest cut she could. She said if he wanted to talk about what he'd been through, they should talk about the people he hurt, the victims. The ones who never got a stage or a spotlight, or a redemption tour. The words hung in the air. You could see something change in his face. His voice cracked. He admitted he thinks about them every day, that he carries the weight of what he did and knows he can never undo it. He said he can't. Go back and make different choices, no matter how much he wishes he could. All he can do now is try to be better and keep others from going down the same road. And if that still wasn't enough for her, he said he didn't know what else he could offer. Sonny finally spoke up, cutting through the noise. She asked Joy. Straight out of her point was that redemption isn't real, that people never change. Because if that's true, Sonny asked, what's the point of rehabilitation? What's the point of any reform? Joy snapped back that nobody should be celebrated, just because they stopped doing bad things. That's the bare minimum, Jelly Roll replied softly. He said he wasn't asking for celebration. He just wanted to be seen as a human being trying to do better. For a moment, Joy's anger flickered. She told him if he wanted to be seen as human, he should stop using his past as a shield against criticism. He said he wasn't hiding behind anything. He was standing there taking every hit she threw. She told him she wanted him to admit he wasn't special. He was where he was because of luck, talent, and a system that worked for him when it failed so many others. He told her he'd said that many times, that he knows he's an exception. It's not the rule. And that's when Joy finally said the quiet part out loud. Asterisk up to this point. Joy had been angry, sharp, aggressive. But her next line wasn't sharp. It was raw. Maybe I don't want to hear. You, she said. The panel went still. The audience was silent. No one expected that kind of honesty. She admitted she was tired of hearing stories about the few who made it out while so many never do. Tired of seeing exceptions held up as proof that a broken system works when, in her eyes, it clearly doesn't. That's when the argument stopped being about Jelly Roll and started being about something much bigger. He told her he had never claimed to be proof that the system works. He said he has spent years saying the exact opposite, that he got lucky, that the system is broken, that it needs serious change. "We're on the same side," he said. She looked at him and asked, "Then why does it feel like we're not?" Answered bluntly, because she wasn't listening, because she was more focused on what she thought he represented than on what he was actually saying. Her eyes filled with tears. She said she couldn't do this anymore. Not just this interview, this job, this daily grind of watching people suffer while she talked about it on TV. Whoopi tried to jump in and offer a break, a pause, a reset. Joy pulled away, she told the audience she was tired of pretending these debates changed anything. Tired of acting like talking about pain on live TV was enough. Then she turned back to Jelly Roll. She said the reason she went so hard at him was because he made redemption look easy. Like anyone could get a happy ending if they just tried hard enough. She called it a beautiful lie. Jelly Roll didn't argue. He told her it wasn't easy. It was the hardest thing he'd ever done. And even then, he knew many people never even got the chance he did. And yet, what he said next is what changed the tone of the room. Jelly Roll told Joy that her anger made sense. That she was right about the system failing people. Right that he got chances others never see. He also told her that's exactly why he talks about it. Why he spends time and money supporting reform. Why he doesn't want to be the only success story in a sea of tragedies. For the first time all episode, Joy said she believed him, but she added believing him and believing in the system are two very different things. And she didn't believe in the system anymore. Sunny urged her to stay and keep fighting. Alyssa said walking off in the middle of a live show wasn't like Joy. Whoopi reminded her not to make a decision she couldn't take back after one heated segment. Joy looked around the table. Years of friendships, years of on-air battles, years of being the one who asked the hard questions. She said this wasn't a snap decision. She'd been thinking about it for a long time, and this moment just made it clear. Jelly Roll stepped in one more time. He apologized if anything he said pushed her to this point. He told her that wasn't what he wanted. She surprised everyone by thanking him. She said he reminded her of why she started doing this. In the first place, to build something better, not to tear people down. Then she admitted something even more personal. She'd been fighting so long that she didn't know how to do anything else. That wasn't healthy. Not for her, not for the panel, not for the viewers watching from home. Sarah called her part of the family. She said the show needed her. Joy smiled through tears. She told them they'd be fine without her. And then in a moment that froze the entire studio, she unclipped her mic, set it on the table, and walked off the set. No dramatic speech, no music swell, just a quiet decision in the loudest room on television. Asterisk, as Joy disappeared through the studio doors, the cameras followed her. The audience sat in stunned silence. Some people had their hands over their mouths. Others just stared. The remaining hosts didn't know what to say. Jelly Roll stayed in his chair, head in his hands, replaying every word in his mind. He had come to promote his music, share his story, maybe inspire a few people watching at home instead. He had become part of a live TV moment that people would argue about for years. Whoopi finally looked at the camera. Her voice shook as she said they were going to a break. The second the red light on the camera went off, the set exploded into motion producers. Stage managers, crew, all trying to figure out what had just happened and what they were supposed to do next. One thing was clear. No matter what statements came later, no matter how the network tried to spin it, everyone in that room knew a line had been crossed. Some viewers saw Joy as a truth-teller pushed past her limit. Others saw her as cruel and unfair to someone who was trying to do the right thing. Some thought Jelly Roll handled himself with grace. Others thought he poked too hard at a woman already burned out by years of watching injustice play out on screen. Now it's your turn. If you were in Joy's seat, would you have pushed that hard? Would you have walked away? Or do you think she crossed a line and let her own pain spill out in a way that wasn't fair? And what about Jelly Roll? Did he hold his ground the right way? Or did he go too far calling out her approach on her own show? Tell me in the comments whose side you're on, or if you think everyone in that studio was both right and wrong in their own way. Don't forget to like this video. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because this moment is only the beginning. The fallout from this clash is still unfolding, and you won't want to miss what happens next.